was so nice to meet you, Mike. I read your story, and obviously you've been so successful going through the ups and downs, right?
Yeah,
A few downs and lots of
ups and downs, and it's the nature of the journey for sure.
Right. Well, my journey is sort of just starting, and I'm 73 years old. So my motto is that passion has no expiration date.
Correct. I love that.
Yeah. So even though I'm probably the oldest person on Clubhouse, because people my age don't go on Clubhouse, I'm enjoying it so much.
Okay. Well, you're doing great, Connie.
Thank you. So I wanted to ask you a few questions. And the first one is, what does a business coach do?
Business coach, basically they help you get through the mental and strategic roadblocks and have a clear pathway. At the end of the day, we're all looking for our path. So a business coach helps you lay out a pathway that is aligned, congruent, and strategically feasible for you to take your next steps.
Okay, great. And are you using your own experience to be a business coach?
Definitely, and also my own learnings and trainings that I've been a part of, and so I'm using experience, using things that I've trained deeply in, from like Tony Robbins to Jay Abraham, Russell Brunson, digital marketer. Just depends on what the tool that is needed. I have a lot of tools in the toolbox, and so it just all depends.
Well, that's a very impressive list of people that you've been learning from. So that's great. I tried to do a few of those workshops, but I tried with Russell Brunson, but I really have no clue about how to do a funnel. So I have to hire people. And so far I've been working alone. And so I think it's time for me to work with a business coach. Okay. Mm-hmm. So that's why I'm doing this, and that's why I'm asking you these questions. So I think you answered the question. What kind of strengths do you bring to the position?
Yeah, and I would add a couple other things. My master's is in leadership. I also have a master NLP practitioner, which is like a neuro-linguistic program, same tool that Tony Robbins has for helping rewire and transform mindset, belief barriers, heal traumas, things like that. So I use that tool pretty actively to help close the gap between the belief barrier. Usually, if you're here and you want to be here, there's a belief barrier gap, and the belief barrier essentially defines what is possible. If you look at Henry Ford, what did he say? Whether you believe you can or not, you're right. Mm-hmm. And so it's subconsciously, and we can say intellectually, I believe it, but if our body doesn't believe it, we're not going to step forward, because the body doesn't lie. So you have to get aligned mentally, emotionally, physically with your objectives and goals and beliefs for you to be able to step forward into something bigger and better.
That's great. So are you able to look at a business and tell people how to get beyond, through that belief barrier?
Yeah. Very often, I'd say, 95% of the time I can diagnose. It usually comes down to it's a mindset problem, and that there's always a factor of mindset. There's marketing, there's sales, there's leadership, there's operations, there's finance, and there's industry challenges as well. So you look at both the inner workings of the business, but also what's the broader climate they're in. If you look at, there's dinosaur industries, like car dealerships are a dinosaur industry. That has a different challenge, being in a low margin, die-in industry, institutional type industry, versus let's say a social media tech startup. Like Clubhouse, that's a rapidly expanding and shifting in world, and so you have different factors based on what ball game you're playing.
I see. So I'm kind of in an industry that is non-existent. Okay. So I went on Clubhouse one day, and there was a group about branding. And I said, I have no idea what my brand is because I'm an inventor and I have a new project working on. And so what is my brand? And so somebody brilliant said, Connie, your brand is Grandmapreneur. So I'm trying to figure out what to do with that. I think that's why I'm doing this. I'm promoting myself also as a Grandmapreneur, but that's a brand that I am the only one who's in it. Okay, you see, I trademarked the name Grandmapreneur.
Yeah.
And I chose that name because actually I have 6 grandchildren and 3 of them live with me.
Oh, cool.
So I'm running a business on the side.
Yeah.
So I guess what I'm trying to figure out now is what is my business?
Connie, may I permission to give you a little snippet of a shift?
Yes.
In language patterns. All right. So you've used the word trying about 6 times already in 10 minutes. Do you know what trying means?
It's probably a negative. It has a negative connotation.
Well, we think of it as positive, but it's really a disempowering word. Like if you keep using trying, you'll always be trying.
I see. That's great advice.
So you want to speak as if it's becoming already. Like, I am doing this. I am, like Muhammad Ali, when he in 1964, when he wrote "I Am the Greatest" poem, and he declared to the world that he was the greatest boxer of all time. He hadn't become the world heavyweight champion yet. He hadn't even beat Sonny Liston. Sonny Liston was 8-1 odds. And he declared it. He didn't say, I am trying to be the #1 boxer. He said, I am the greatest.
Okay. Well, so you have already given me some wonderful advice, and I thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. So let me ask you a question. What do your clients say about you?
One of my clients called me Magic Mike because I was creating magic in their lives. In her life.
Oh yeah, I heard that.
Yeah. So then they say that they've never had a mentor who believed in them like I did. They often say, that my process of helping them create an irresistible offer, building out the identity. Your identity precedes your destiny. So when my clients will say, Mike, you've really helped me reframe my identity to become where I want to go.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. So I want to know, who is your ideal coaching client? Do you accept everybody?
No, it's usually a 6 or 7 figure earner that is highly motivated, highly teachable, and that is in an identity transformation season. The magic of transformation is found when you are in a season where you are leaving behind or stepping out of an old identity and building a new identity. And just like there's a lot of foundation laying that has to be done during that season. And I love those type of clients, and they're at all levels. They can be beginner, they can be 6 or 7 figure earners, but they're ready. They're motivated, they're dedicated, they're committed, they're inspired.
Okay, that's wonderful. That's totally wonderful. So I'm going to get a little specific about me. If you were coaching me, okay. So I retired from being a college writing professor at age 68, and I became an inventor.
Yeah.
Okay. So my invention is for people who are usually over 50, even older than that. And my invention is this. It's called tip and split.
Yeah.
I invented it because when I go out to a restaurant, I can't see the menu or the bill. So this little thing has a magnifier on it. It has a light because the restaurants are always dark.
Yeah.
And, you can also figure out a tip and split the bill in seconds. Now we can all do that but sometimes we're having a few too many drinks, so we just don't want to be bothered. So this is kind of a fun invention. And I worked by myself, but then I wrote a book called How I Got My Product on QVC, The Today Show, The View, and more in my retirement. Okay, so then I put that product on hold during COVID because I do not want to encourage older people to go out to restaurants. Okay, now it's changing. Okay, so during COVID, I started a new business. And my business is called Write Your Selfie. And in it, I'm trying to have younger people work with their parents or grandparents to get their story down. So it's a great bonding piece. And it's very valuable because I meet so many people who say, you know, my grandma just died and I never knew all these things about her. So I'm giving them that opportunity to do it. And I actually call it my program, Write Your Selfie, because people like you do selfies all the time, but people like me don't. So this is our chance to write our own selfie. And this is actually my book. I'm really proud of it. And what I did in it is I made it, when people leave their memoirs behind, usually it's like 1,000 pages. Mine is not. Mine is almost all pictures. You see, and it's got just it's got some words, and it's got some lessons that I want to leave to my grandchildren, because how else are they going to know about it? For example, my mother graduated. She was the first female law student at the University of Minnesota. And 2 of her professors later became Supreme Court justices. Now, I think that's really nice for my grandchildren to know where they came from. And I have so many stories that I'm passing on to my children. And it's mostly pictures, but it's some words. And I want to give them a little history about me, which is about them. So I talk a little bit about how we all got our names. And I'm Jewish, and according to Jewish tradition, you usually name somebody after somebody who died, just to honor them. So I write down, my name is Connie. It's not a Jewish name. And here's how I got that name. My mother named my older sister Sharon and told my dad that he could choose my name. He chose Francis. When my mom asked my dad where he got that name, he said it was his old girlfriend. Well, my mom was furious and looked at the nurse's badge, and her name was Connie. So I was named after the nurse. So I think that's kind of interesting to include in my memoirs to my grandchildren and future generations, because nobody knows anything after we're gone. So this is what I'm trying to do, and some of my challenges are that I recently set up an Instagram account. I had no idea how to do it because I'm not really good with the phone and my fingers and doing all that. So I hired somebody, and I realized that people my age don't go on Instagram. So I'm trying to resonate with people your age, so they could do it. So those are my two products. And my brand is Grandmapreneur. So if you were working with me, what would you advise?
Good question. So first, your book is more, and I guess are you helping people write?
Yes.
Selfie book? Okay.
Yes.
All right. Gotcha. All right. So I think your title, Grandmapreneur, is an very interesting title. If you look at like Donald Trump, why did Donald Trump win the first election? More because he was interesting than because he was good. He was a very good marketer. He was clearly head and shoulders above Hillary as a marketer. But in our culture, what does really well, and you look at kids' toys, you look at games, you look at food, you look at stories, it's an interesting story. So you leading with that, I would lead your products or a subset of your personal brand.
Exactly.
And so really and then I think I would do two things with it. Tip and sip. What's it called? The
split. Tip and split.
Sorry. Yeah. I coach and mentor e-commerce entrepreneurs as well. So that's my two main categories that I coach and mentor: thought leaders and e-commerce. There's a book called E-commerce Evolved that I would dial that in, because you've got, if there's a market for that, which I would assume there is, if you can get awareness, get that in the PR side, figure out the e-com game, you could do very well with that. So I would dive into E-commerce Evolved, that book, be using, Shopify, Klaviyo, as your tool. Are you on Shopify?
No, right I'm now? Not.
Okay.
I have a website, but I never did Shopify.
Okay. And then the other thing I would do with that brand is influencer marketing. For example, when I did influencer marketing with my men's clothing brand, I might spend $7,500 on a YouTube video feature, but I would get, a 4x return in the first 30 days, and then lifetime an inch closer to a 10x return with the right. You find there's older people on YouTube and Instagram that have big channels that I've seen, and that's a unique product for them. There's not a lot of products that you're seeing featured in some of those channels for the older generation. So, and then the last thing I would do is one of the core things, our words are commands. So eliminate what I call weak ass words. So if are the words I'm using, are they making me stronger? Are they making me more powerful? Or are they disempowering me subtly? So words like trying, I would eliminate trying from my vocabulary forever.
It's gone.
Yeah. And then I would tell them, your grandchildren, your husband, whatever, your family members, that, hey, if you catch me using the word trying, it's gone. Like, interrupt me. Like, you want to be using I am becoming, I am doing this, eliminate, I would love to. There's some common weak ass words. I would love to, I hope to, I'm trying, someday, those type of things are all vague, unspecific, not empowering. So, and if you work on the mindset and really get that anchored in, because then you got certainty, and certainty, there's 5 S's or 5 C's. I'll go into those in a second, but I know you had a thought there.
Okay, so I think you're not only helping me, but helping so many people who are going to watch this video. Okay, and read about it in Entrepreneur Magazine, which I will promote. So that is absolutely wonderful advice. So what do you consider a successful outcome for your clients?
It depends on the successful outcome is their achievement of their dreams and desires and progress and momentum towards that.
So is it money?
If that's a goal, for some entrepreneurs, it's I had a client that her number one goal, she was fine with the income she was making, so wasn't making more money, but she wanted to have more time with her family, and we shaved her workload by half by shifting some things around, and her income stayed the same.
Okay, that's great. That's great. So what kind of people do you like to work with?
So I call it the conscious creators, the people that want to make the world better, that are consciously driven towards that, and that they want to find alignment. So success in that for me is like, hey, you're stepping more and more into your purpose, your destiny. You're figuring out how to monetize that successfully in a way that is aligned, congruent, and fulfilling. And so the people that are really driven towards that, not just the money side, that's who I want to serve the most.
Okay, well, you are very clear in your goals, and I think that this is, I'm totally resonating with what you're saying, and I'm hoping that this will help other people, because everybody needs a coach. I've never had a coach, never. And so before I decided to hire a coach, I looked it up. What is coaching? What do you need to do for coaching? And I thought the best thing for me to do is to study coaching. And then I found I found 15 incredible coaches to interview. You're the second.
Wow. Yeah, love it. I'm sure it will, and love what you're up to, Connie, and keep stepping forward. And I want to give you the 5 C's real quick, because I think it will help a few things click. The first one is clarity. When we have greater clarity, then we can lead and make decisions with greater conviction. When I have greater conviction, I also have greater certainty because of that conviction. Greater certainty leads to greater confidence. As I step forward with greater confidence, I also make more courageous decisions and raise my commitment level because I am stepping forward with greater and greater courage. So there's actually certainty and conviction are basically the same, but technically I added a 6th C on that one. But but it all starts with clarity, and then the clarity leads to deeper levels of conviction. So you're doing the right thing. You get greater and greater clarity on your brand, your position, your businesses, yourself, your vision, your strategy. You're going to be building momentum more and more and more.
Well, I totally appreciate all of your comments. And, I had no idea what a business coach could do. And so before I jump into it, I thought, let me study coaches. And you are very impressive. I have to tell you that. So I thank you. I thank you very much for this interview.